It's 2025, so simply just get whatever camera brand you want. In the last few years, everybody's been kind of bugging around Sony versus Nikon, Canon, or whatever. I even joked about it with the memes and everything, but in all honesty, going into 2025, it just really shouldn't matter what brand of camera you go with. It just has to be the one that's right for you. I get asked consistently if Sony is the best camera brand because I shoot with it, but in all honesty, I've shot with quite a different types of camera. I've shot with my friend's Nikon camera before. I used to shoot with Canon before it got stolen. I've shot with Fuji as well, and as well now with a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and I've done DJI before with my drone. So it really doesn't matter which camera brand you go with. What it's really going to come down to is which one you use the most for your needs. For myself, Sony has been the most reliant because of the lenses that they provide with a third party, as well as the capabilities for the cameras that it comes with, for like the specs, for the price point, for what I need them for. Fuji has been really great whenever I've used them. I've loved my XE4 when I had it, as well as with the medium format with the GFX 50S Mark II and having the S10 as well because my wife uses them. So in reality, it doesn't really matter. I personally shoot with Sony because it's been, like I said, for me, what's worked best. So I've already dived into too much with the lenses and everything. That's the reason why I got the bodies that I have for, filming and everything. I've even recently picked up the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 because it creates a really great video for my needs, for especially on the go kind of vlogging type of things, for behind the scenes for YouTube. So that's one of the reasons why I went with it. Sony doesn't have one, Canon doesn't have one, Nikon doesn't have one, obviously Fuji doesn't have one. So there is no point for me to get anything else but besides that because it worked for me. Some people might even shoot with their phone, and that's okay. It's whatever your needs are going to come down to when it comes down to having the right camera for whatever you want to take photos or videos with. I think in 2025, most people are going to be not making the wrong choice. You are not going to miss on whatever brand you choose to go with. Every brand has a really great perspective of what they can get for the price point to the specs ratio because they have to compete with each other. You're going to have really great cameras from Sony, just like the new versions of the Nikon cameras that have come out that have even more updated specs for the price point, as well as the Lumix cameras that have really great specs for the price point if you're really wanting to go into the full frame lineup of things. Fuji has been really great with their APS-C and as well with their film simulations, and of course their medium formats are really hard to beat because I'm pretty sure they're the only medium format out there besides Hasselblad, which I don't think you're going to be spending that much money on a camera if you're debating which camera brand to go with just for the sake of going for it. But that's kind of funny because in reality everybody's going to have their opinion of which brand is better, which one has the best whatever specs and everything. But in 2025, my mentality has always been it's better about the tool that helps you create consistently and create the best outcome that you can with what you have, rather than focus so much on what brand it was. I've created great videos and photos with my Sony cameras. I've done it even with my Fuji cameras when I had some of them that shot some video, but mainly for the photos. And now I'm doing a lot with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And a lot of people could say that the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is not good or this and that, and I wasn't even sold on it at the beginning of it. I had to get some convincing from my friend Ben, and I've been enjoying it a lot because it's catered to the needs for my channel and it's just worked. Don't really care for the camera brand. I've never said that DJI has to be it or nothing, or the same way that if it was a Sony I would only get it if it was Sony or anything of the sort. Every camera that I've obtained is because of a reason of what works best for my needs, regardless of what brand it is. Of course, I've stayed more with Sony because it's been more consistent for my needs, but as well because of the lenses that I've invested in. So in 2025, I think you should just go for whatever brand you feel is going to be best for your budget, best for your needs, and best for whatever options that you might need, whether it's the specs, the lens selection, or the overall ergonomics of it, the firmware, whatever you want to, just make it work for you. So I'm curious to know, what camera brand are you shooting with? What choice did you make of, why you chose it? It'd be interesting to know your thoughts when it came down to, really going and invest your money into whatever camera brand that you decide to choose and why. I know the reason why I chose all these cameras. I've made videos about them, but for me, obviously having a hybrid like the A7 IV that I'm filming with or the A7C Mark II has been great for what I need for fast autofocus and good video for the sports photographies that I do. So always curious to know your reasoning as to what camera brand you're going to or are planning to go to or are in or wish you could try out. Leave a comment down below, let me know your thoughts and see what you have to say about that. because I kind of want to talk a little bit of what brand I want to try going into 2025 and see how I'll like it in the future, just because it would be good to know what I could get eventually. I think the Lumix with the S5 Mark II X looks pretty interesting to me, especially with the open gate. Eventually I might look into it, especially if I can adapt my Sony lenses to the camera, so I can just get the body and go ahead and interlace them that way. Because I know there's the Nikon Z6 Mark III, now they have even like an adapter that you can use for, with the autofocus and everything, that's supposed to be very good. So that could be another option for me to test out because of the type of video capabilities that that new camera has. That would be interesting to, test out and see if in the future it would be the right move. But knowing Lumix as well, with their, I think it's the S1H, where it had really great video specs and everything for their time, I'm curious to know if they're going to come out with a new version of that to be able to see if it would be something cool to test out or get in the future. Just because if it's an updated with better autofocus and the nice capabilities of the specs that it could have, it would be very interesting to test out and see how much better it could do for the price point compared to Sony in that aspect. Because the only winners that come of this is going to be the consumers with more competition. That's theoretically the whole purpose of capitalism, that you're supposed to breed innovation. Not always does it happen, but at least in that aspect, it helps out with us having a little bit of that supposedly free market to be able to have different camera bodies and camera companies bring out with the best, to be able to push each other's boundaries to see what new things could happen into the camera world that the consumer should win, because more competition, better pricing for us, and so on and so forth. Oh, other than that, I'm curious to see what other camera lenses I could test out, because I've used Tamron for the most part, and I started diving back into Sigma with the 24-70, which is a first mark. But yeah, there's a lot of things that in 2025 I'm just kind of more looking into the aspects of the specs rather than the brand. If it works with the focal ranges that I want for this type of lens, great. If it works with this camera body that has these specs, then great. The budget itself, everything like that is going to be more of my interest, and as well try to help you and give you as much insight as I can as I keep diving into it myself. But that's it. That's all the kind of little rant over of 2025, knowing what camera brand you should with. Just choose whatever works best for your budget, for your specs and your checklist, and whatever works best for whatever you want to create with. Have fun and enjoy yourself being a creative, and just let your art speak for itself rather than the brand that you shoot with. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.